Another shift nearly finished. This is to all of you woke morons about the Islamist. Now, most of the Muslims I know, not actually all of the Muslims I know, are moderate Muslims. They're decent, hard-working people, really nice people. Not a problem with them. The problem is, you're all shouting and screaming for Palestine. Fair enough. I'm hearing calls for Sharia law in this country. Been hearing calls for Sharia law in this country for years, but it seems to be getting closer and closer as we're more and more outnumbered by Muslim immigrants that are coming over here, mostly young men. And so it is a strong possibility. Just a little warning for you, Muslims. If you try to force this country to Sharia law, Gen X at least will rise up and we will fucking fight. Now, this is a Christian country. I don't believe in God or the devil or any of that nonsense. It's all religious claptrap for me. But here's what I'm going to say. To all you woke liberal morons who think that might be a good idea. Because I've heard quite a lot of you talking about that sort of stuff. This is what will happen to this country. The same thing that happened to Iran and every other country that fell under the caliphate laws. All women will be subjugated. You will no longer be allowed to drive. You will no longer be allowed to work. You will be owned by the men of your family. That being your father, if you don't have a father, your brothers. You will be married off to whoever they decide to marry you off to. Don't matter if you're lesbian, you won't have a fucking choice. You will have no rights. That is as simple and purely as that. Moderate Muslims don't live like that. Extremists do. To all you gays and bis out there, myself included because I'm bi, we will be imprisoned or executed for our sexuality. It's as simple as that. I'm not a member of the LGBTQ. I never have been, never will be. It's all a lot of bollocks. I'm happily married to a woman and I haven't done anything on that side of things for donkey's years. But it's irrelevant. So all of you idiots calling for Sharia law in this country, if you do not bow to the caliphate, which is what it will be, our traitorous king, he's a traitor because he's a member of the New World Order and a globalist. And by the way, all this is happening because the globalist elitists want this to happen because it causes dissent amongst us and causes us to fight amongst ourselves. We need to stand together. Moderate Muslims, moderate Christians, moderate Jews, moderate Sikhs, moderate Buddhists. I don't care what religion you follow. As far as I'm concerned, they're all nonsense. But whatever religion you follow, whether you follow religion or not, we need to stand together and say, not gonna fucking happen. All the freedoms and rights we have now, which admittedly are being curtailed on a daily basis, will be lost. You won't have any freedoms. You will be a member of a militant state. Simple as that. Also, if they gain control of this country, they gain control of our nuclear arsenal. And they will use it. Don't for 1 minute think they won't, because the extremist Muslims, their end game is to control the entire world under a Muslim caliphate. Not just individual nations, but the entire fucking world. Just like the Catholics tried to do 300 years ago. And they make the Catholics look like fucking saints, which none of them ever were. So, that's my message to the British people for one. No matter what your race, colour, creed, religion, sexuality, gender, because I know a lot of you don't believe you've got single gender. Weird. Stand and say no. We're not having it. We don't want it. We're not having it. And if they do try and force the issue, take up arms. I'm not, as I've said before, I do not advocate violence, but if we have to fight for our freedoms, then we should fight for our freedoms. My grandfather went to war to fight for our freedoms. My great-grandfather went to war to fight for our freedoms. And the way the British people are these days, it's all being pissed into the fucking wind. Millions of people died in World War I and World War II for our freedom. from across the globe, because it wasn't just English soldiers in the trenches in World War One. It was Indian, it was African, it was fucking people from all over the world who were part of what was then the British Empire. They died for us. And what's the British government throughout the fucking decades done? It's pissed all over them. We will not accept caliphate rule in this country. The British people will not accept that. You want to bring it? Bring it. We will fight you. As Churchill said, we'll fight you on the beaches. Well, we won't anymore because the government is just allowing these fuckers to cross on their boats. But we will fight you in the streets. We'll fight you up the fucking steps of Whitehall. We'll fight you at Buckingham Palace. We'll fight you wherever you fucking try and take control. Your days in this country, extremists, are numbered, because the British people is waking up to what you are doing. And you global elitists that are organising all this shit, we are awake. We know what you're doing, and we will stand against you. I'm saying all this as a we. I don't know if other people in this country will stand up and fight to defend our way of life. I don't know if other people, all those rights that the women's liberation fought for, are going to disappear. All the gay rights gone. You all fought for it. Your fucking older generations fought for it. And this new woke Gen Z generations, although that's not just Gen Zs, because I'm seeing lots of woke people, usually middle class. You're about to hand this country over to a dictatorship that will eradicate everything that has been fought for the last 150 fucking years. Think about that before you sign over this country to the caliphate.